Steve Clark wasn't the face of Def Leppard. He wasn't the front man, and he wasn't the one giving the loudest interviews. But without him, Def Leppard would never have sounded the same. Known to fans and fellow musicians alike as the Riffmaster, Steve Clark was the beating heart behind some of the most iconic guitar work of the 1980s. His riffs didn't just support the music, they defined it. They were melodic, haunting, and emotionally raw in a way that reached beyond the stadium walls. Tracks like Photograph, Foolin, Love Bites, and Bringin' on the Heartbreak carried Steve's fingerprints, each one telling a story through notes that many guitarists spend a lifetime trying to emulate. He was the kind of musician whose soul poured through every chord, but that same soul was quietly fracturing behind the scenes. Born in 1960 in Sheffield, England, Steve came from a working-class background. His father worked for the British Steel Corporation and pushed Steve toward a structured, traditional path. But from the moment Steve picked up a guitar at age 11, an old Gibson Les Paul copy, it was clear his future wouldn't follow any blueprint. He was obsessed with the sounds of Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin. He would practice until his fingers bled, not to show off, but because the guitar was his language. It was how he processed a world that often felt cold and unforgiving. By the time he joined Def Leppard in 1978, he wasn't just another player. He was a co-architect of a new sound that blended glam, metal, and melody into something both aggressive and beautiful. As Def Leppard skyrocketed in the 1980s, releasing multi-platinum albums like Pyromania and Hysteria, Steve was helping build a musical empire. The band became global icons, playing to sold-out stadiums, dominating MTV, and redefining what British rock could be. But behind the lights and screams, Steve was battling something much darker: alcoholism and depression. It wasn't obvious at first. He was quiet, polite, and intensely focused in the studio. But friends began noticing the signs: missed rehearsals, emotional distance, moments of instability. Steve was using alcohol not just recreationally, but as a numbing agent, a way to silence whatever pain he carried from his past. He often drank, alone, and despite the band's growing success, he became increasingly withdrawn. While others saw a rock star living the dream, those close to him saw a man slowly falling apart. He began showing up to sessions intoxicated. He blacked out on tour. He injured himself in hotel rooms and would vanish for hours. Yet through it all, he never stopped playing. His guitar was still his sanctuary, sometimes the only thing that kept him tethered to reality. Bandmates Joe Elliott, Rick Savage, and Phil Collen desperately tried to help. Collen, in particular, grew close to Steve and often acted as both musical partner and emotional support. But the bond couldn't replace the therapy Steve truly needed. He was admitted to rehab more than once, and though he had periods of sobriety, they never lasted. By the late 80s, Def Leppard had suffered unimaginable setbacks. Drummer Rick Allen lost his arm in a car crash. Producer Mutt Lange was injured and unavailable. The band was under intense pressure to complete Hysteria, an album that would go on to become one of the best-selling records of all time. And through all of it, Steve's health deteriorated. He was physically present but emotionally distant. Even when performing for millions, he seemed to drift. His body on stage, his mind somewhere else. In 1991, after being given a 6-month leave of absence to recover and regroup, Steve Clark was found dead in his London home. The cause, respiratory failure due to a mixture of alcohol and prescription drugs. He was just 30 years old. The news shattered fans and devastated his bandmates. Steve's death wasn't just the loss of a great guitarist. It was the loss of a friend, a brother, and a soul too gentle for the brutal weight of fame. In interviews, Joe Elliott has admitted that the band saw it coming, but never thought it would end that way. He never really believed he was good enough, Colin once said, but he was the best of us. What makes Steve Clark's story so tragic isn't just that he died young, it's that he never saw the full extent of his own genius. His guitar work continues to influence rock musicians today. His riffs are still studied, still covered, still loved by fans who may not even know his name. He was a man of few words, but when he played, he said everything he needed to. In many ways, Steve Clark's guitar became his voice, a voice that spoke of pain, beauty, and longing, a voice that never died. Steve Clark wasn't just a member of Def Leppard, he was its soul. A gentle spirit in a brutal industry, an artist who turned his quiet sadness into unforgettable sound. His legacy lives not in headlines, but in melodies that echo through time, reminding us that sometimes the most powerful stories are told not with words, but with 6 strings and silence.
Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more amazing content. See you next time.